So they want the logo to sit on there, but they don't want to lose the photographic content around it. So how do I get around that one? Okay, well, let me just move that off to the side just for the moment here. That's kind of interesting. Is that a GPU thing going on there? It is. Right, okay. So what I need to do is to draw an ellipse here, okay, that's going to accommodate that logo. So I'm just positioning my cursor. InDesign has a little system of cursor assistants, okay, that show you when you're at specific portions of the page or relation to objects. And I'm seeing that right now as a small white arrow. And hold down Option or Alt to draw from the center and Shift. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw that out like so until it's about the size that I'd like it to be. Okay, that's perfect. Just there. That's exactly what I need. Now, this frame at the moment has, or this shape at the moment, I've drawn a shape, not a frame just here. Okay, that's perfect the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to just swap over the fill and stroke. So Shift X is a way to do that on the keyboard. If you don't want to do it via the keyboard or you can't for whatever reason, okay, there is a small curved arrow just above the fill and stroke parts in the toolbox there for you to use as well. Okay, so this is going to be a two-step process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all four of the blue shapes here. Let's just change their color so they're very, very bright for you. Let's make them yellow, like so, just for the moment. And then I'm going to join those together. Now, to do that, I need to use a Pathfinder, which is a way of adding and subtracting shapes from each other. So I'm going to go to the window menu, into Object and Layout, and choose Pathfinder. And this is what the Pathfinder panel looks like. There's quite a lot more going on in here than there is in Illustrator, which could do with some of these things, to be quite honest. But what I want to do is to join those four things together until they become one shape. Now, if you take a look at them now, before I do that, you can see that each box, each frame there, has its own individual cross mark inside of it. So the diagonal lines that show you it's a frame. When I hit this, the add command, you can see now that the cross or the diagonal lines actually goes across all four because they are effectively the same shape. I'm then going to select the circle that I have just here. Okay. And I'm going to shift click the compound shape that I've just made from those four things. That's effectively what's happened just there. Okay. I'm then going to use this command, subtract, and that will punch out like so. However, we're nearly there. This is somewhere where that logo can live, but they'd also like the images back, or some images back, okay, around it. So how do we do that? Well, we can right click on it. We can go to the object menu. We can come down to the path options here and choose release compound path. If you're an Illustrator user and you use keyboard shortcuts to do that, you'll be happy to know that the compound path shortcuts inside of InDesign are exactly the same, okay, as those in Illustrator. And suddenly, all of these things have become frames just like before. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut or add in some of the bread pictures. I'm going to go back to Bridge, and I'm going to pick 4 pictures up from there. Okay, so I know that this bread, let me just switch between the two, is not in there. So I'm going to deselect everything else, select that bread. I'm also going to select maybe these pastry whirls because I don't think they're in there. If they are, I can deal with it. Let's go with the cheeses just here. That's not being used. Actually, I'll take away that Danish one. I'll go with some coffee beans, and we'll have the other breads just for the purposes of whatever. Right click again. So down to place in InDesign, like so. And then we have those. If you want to cycle through them to get to the image you want, just use the arrow keys on your keyboard. So you can just move through them like so. So I think this bread one will work quite well there. I'm going to put that other bread diagonally opposite. The cheese is at the top and then the coffee beans just there. Excellent. I can now bring this logo over into place. Okay, and I'll just move that down a little bit here. Okay, so that's just about in the right place. There's another way I could have done this, but anyway, that's just fine for now. It's a little bit big, so I'm going to use the transform tool. So I'm just going to tap E on my keyboard. Okay, I'm going to go over one of the corners. I'm going to hold down Option and Shift and just drag that in just to give it a little bit more breathing room.